Welcome to the new Help Her Be Brave podcast show where you get great ideas of how you can help save lives. I'm Amy Ford with Embrace Grace.
And I'm Jessica Russo with Embrace Grace.
And this week we are going to be talking to Cherilyn. And so Cherilyn is based out of Ohio, and I actually met her from her at her previous position. She was a pregnancy center director, and she had hired me to be the keynote of her gala. We haven't ever figured out. We Googled it. Yeah, there was even a third one. I don't know. We Googled it and we couldn't figure it out. I think there is an English they're both correct is what we figured out. But anyways, I spoke and at her event and got to know her, and oh my gosh, she's super funny, super kind of dry, witty, and hysterical. And we clicked right away, and we've been friends ever since. And she works at Choose Life Marketing, and then she also has an initiative you definitely should check out, Pro Black Pro Life. A YouTube channel that's awesome that she has on there as well. And so it's very interesting to me, the power of social media, right? Yeah. Like that's where our girls are. Like
that's where most of us are most of the time.
I know, which is probably not good to be on there all the time. You know, we have to have good balance, but it is true. That's where, and especially like when you're in a crisis, you want to try to find answers.
Yes, and you go straight to the search engine.
Mm-hmm. And what's crazy to me is even they go straight to the search engine. But what I've noticed too with Gen Z, I think, they sometimes are going straight to YouTube. Like they don't even Google anything anymore. They just like YouTube it.
My 14-year-old, the news is YouTube to him.
Yeah.
And he'll come and tell my husband and I these crazy things that he is just sure they are fact and this is what happened. I'm like, whoa. Let's talk about this. But that's where they're going to find their information because it's easy. They're visual. They want to see it. They want to hear it. They want to read it. And YouTube has all those things for them.
Yeah, I think our age is showing.
My 40 is showing.
Yeah, my 40 is showing too. But we appreciate it. But yet we're like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
But it's a valuable tool.
It really is. I can't even imagine what life would be like without having social media and technology and internet and all the things.
Let's not talk about how much we depend on it.
Yes, that's true. So, but I'm pumped. Cherilyn has some great ideas of how we can help with our messaging, and we'll be able to tune in with her as she on. Hey, Cherilyn.
Hello.
Hi. I'm so excited. We are very excited that you are joining us today. And I actually just this past week got to spend a lot of time with you, even though we live states apart, but being at the CareNet conference together was super fun, hanging out. So this is our brand new podcast show, Help Her Be Brave. Jessica's here too.
Hey, girl.
And
hey.
Yeah, we're pumped about it. We just really want people to get excited about getting involved in the pro-life movement and finding ways to get involved. And I just love what you're doing with Choose Life Marketing and just your messaging strategies to help either women choose life and feel empowered to choose life, or even just people like the actual idea about pro-life and helping people think differently about it. So why do you feel like you're passionate about this? Like, is it tied to your story?
So it's tied to my story in a really strange way. I have an abortion story myself. I made 2 abortion choices in the past. One when I was 15, and I like to say I didn't know any better. I didn't even know what an abortion was. I didn't know what other options were out there for me. I was in an affluent Black family. And so that decision, I had almost convinced myself was like coerced, but really came down to it was a choice that I made. But my second abortion choice when I was much older, about 28, 29, I can't really remember the exact age, but at that time I knew better. I had already had 2 children. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I couldn't figure out why I continued to make these really poor choices. And that is when I began to look for ways to volunteer to help other women not make this choice. And I didn't even know there was like a whole pro-life movement. I didn't know that was a thing. I just wanted to help women find other solutions to having to make that choice. So I started to volunteer at a pregnancy center. And then from there, I became the development director of another pregnancy center. And that is where I participated in my abortion healing. And from that point on, was able to share my testimony And as we know, when we begin to share our testimony, the Lord breaks down barriers in ourselves, but also in those that you share it with. And so he just continued to open door after door that I never even thought of. And my absolute dream job was to be an executive director at a pregnancy center. And in 2016, he opened up that door here at my local pregnancy center, and where I served, and also was able to put my story down on paper, and again began to open up more doors that I didn't necessarily know that I were going to be open. And from that point on, in January of 2020, this year, he transplanted me to Choose Life Marketing as a business development executive. And here, I get to help other pregnancy center directors and marketing specialists really what we call reach her, which is the abortion-minded woman, through digital marketing strategy and full-service marketing that is targeted to pregnancy centers. So it's specifically researched and analyzed to help pregnancy centers get in front of the abortion-minded woman and give her an opportunity to really experience Jesus before she has to make that decision.
Whoa. Wow. I want to pause right there because you said put your story on paper. I feel like you might need to add that you published a little book of your story. Yeah, just
a tiny detail.
Just a little, put my story to paper.
I did. I published a book. It's the first of a series called The Black Woman's Guide to Saving Her Race, and it's my story. And it's just really the beginning to how being abortion-minded as a Black woman, how we can help save our race by really sharing our stories with our community in a way that allows other women to see the effects of it, the long-term effects of it, and how that in turn could help us really save our race from what's happening in our communities now with abortion.
Wow. Yeah, I read part 1 and now you've left me hanging. I'm waiting for the part 2.
I love the God setup in your journey here.
Whatever. Well, okay. So one thing that I feel like a lot of people, especially maybe the older generation, kind of downplay the power that graphics, social media, marketing can play in even finding the girls. And I remember one time our mutual friend, Destiny, she sent me a screenshot of, she had texted, or someone had Instagram messaged her, and she had responded back, said, "Have you heard of Embrace Grace?" And she said, "Oh my goodness, their Instagram gave me life during my unplanned pregnancy. I would just cling to every quote, every message that they had to get me through that season." And that's just social media. There's power in our words, even digitally, and that's where the younger generation is.
Yeah, and I think that is the key. I'm 42 years old. I'm on social media, but that's not really how I get a lot of my information. But my children, who are soon to be 18, and my 26-year-old, that's where they get all of their information. That is where they do their research. That's how they do their searches. They use Google or YouTube. And this idea that because I don't look for something some way that is a waste of time or an investment to do something a certain way is really just pride. That's really all it is. And even for me to say, I think it's stupid. I look at my kids and I'm like, "Are you still on Snapchat?" And they're like, "Yes, Mom." I'm like, "That's so stupid." But for them, that's all they know.
Yeah.
They didn't read the newspaper. They didn't read paper magazines. That's not what they are used to. And so even as for books, handing them a paper book, they're like, can I have this electronically? I'm just looking at them like, why would you ever want to do that? But that is how they get their information, is from a screen. And we have to start looking at why Planned Parenthood has been so successful. It's because their messaging is completely directed at that age group in a way that they receive information. You have 8 to 12 seconds to get their attention. That's it. And so if you're expecting them to look at your billboard of a little baby when they're driving by and something to trigger in their mind that, "Oh, I should keep my baby," it's not going to work because it's 99.9% chance they didn't even see your billboard because they were looking at their phone, drive me past. And so we really have to have a shift in our mindset, which also requires a shift in our investments. And so I think it's hard. I think it's very, very difficult for the average person to fully wrap their brain around that. Because, again, I think that there's a struggle with cultural change because something in us, we have to change and we don't want to.
Yeah,
like,
it's all. I mean, it's our perspective is the perspective, and
right?
that's all
and
we
as
know.
a Zennial, I was there when before social media or before the internet, and also after the internet. So I'm like right in the middle. So I can appreciate what things were like before, but I also appreciate where it has brought us. Where before me, the boomers before me, and the millennials under me, they don't have that perspective, and so. When there's a lot of times when we're having a conversation as business development executives, we're talking about donor marketing opposed to client marketing. We're talking about two completely different demographics.
Yeah.
And that also can be mind-blowing to someone who's never really sat down and thought about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us how, for people that maybe don't know much about search engine optimization and how that works. I mean, basically when a girl finds out she's pregnant, she usually goes to the internet first to find either it's an abortion clinic. I heard one time, and I know, Jessica, you've probably heard stories too. I remember one time a girl said she Googled how to have 13 false positive pregnancy tests because she just really didn't want to be pregnant. And so she took 13 tests and thought, maybe they're all wrong.
Maybe this brain there's a default.
Yeah, maybe there's
a recall.
But that's where they're right. So that's where they're going. So how is it that Choose Life Marketing is using that to their advantage to help intercept those women that maybe haven't even gone anywhere yet? They haven't even told a soul, but they went straight to the internet.
Hey guys, it's Jessica taking a quick break from the podcast to invite you in on something fun. So, are you looking for a way to give back during this holiday season? Help us finish the year strong by making an end of the year tax-deductible donation to Embrace Grace. You get to make an impact on not only saving lives physically, but eternally. Play the vital part in providing single and pregnant women with spiritual, emotional, and physical support, saving lives of mamas and their babies. Visit www.embracegrace.com/donate to learn more.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about Google as a search engine first, because that is the most popular search engine. And so when you think about your foundation being your website, we get a question all the time, like, why does it matter that if our website's updated, we have one? Well, even again, at 42, if I go to your website and it's a bunch of words, I'm not reading all of your words. I'm just going to hop off and go to the next one. And so in order for your website to pop up, you have to have optimized in the search engine tool, which is Google. And so the way I usually explain this is that, have you ever gone into Google and you wanted to type in I don't know, taco restaurant, and then it starts filling these ideas in for you, like near me.
Yeah, it finishes it for you.
And that's what happens. So what Google is saying to you is these are the top searches that people have been looking for during a certain period of time. And so I'm trying to help you optimize your search by offering you these suggestions. Those suggestions come from what's happening around you. And so you need someone to be able to keep up with that on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Because it changes so frequently. And we don't do that. We'll have someone do our website. They'll put the optimization in when they first launch the website. We go look at it 2-3 months down the road, and you can see that nothing has happened. And this is why you're not coming up, because you have no keywords. You have not optimized your website at all. And Google's just going to continuously change it because it's trying to help its user.
Yeah.
I always joke when we talk about Google, because people are like, well, they decided to put, an abortion clinic, not abortion. I'm like, listen, Google is a robot. It's a machine. Like, it doesn't like you or dislike you. Like, if you get paid ads, it's going to take your money and it's going to do what you ask it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all. It's a business that has a robot. And so that's why we always recommend paid search for someone who has a high volume area. And again, this is information that you can find on Google and what your area search rating is, search engine. That's the word I'm looking for. Search
optimization.
No.
I don't know.
I can't think of it. But how many people have searched for words like abortion or abortion clinic? And we use that to determine whether or not paid Google ads would be something that's effective
that it would make sense.
Well, how have you seen do you have like a story or anything of how doing this, and whether you're a pregnancy center or you're just a person that is passionate about life, like I think it even can involve our social media posts and offering hope, and that we're here for a safe place to turn to if you need help. But do you have any stories or anything of how this has helped change someone's mind or empowered someone to choose life?
Yes. So at the beginning of the lockdown, so in March, where pregnancy centers are making this decision of whether to stay open or to close for, safety reasons.
People are still getting pregnant. People are still getting.
You lock us down long enough.
Quarantine. They may tell us not to be busy, but we're gonna be busy.
4 weeks later, there's gonna be some pregnancies. So
there's gonna be a baby boom this year.
Something's gonna happen. We're gonna have a lot of coronavirus days in December. And so we would have these conversations with our pregnancy centers, and I would find articles that would say, like, there are abortion clinics that are literally just saying, drive up, I'll hand you a paper bag. You don't need to come in for an ultrasound. You don't need pregnancy test. I trust that when your last period was, here's your, abortion pill.
Wow.
And so we were telling our centers, like, if this is not the time to, like, stop. We need you. If you are able to safely keep your doors open,
wear your hazmat suits. Do what you got to do.
Save some babies.
Save yourself and save some babies.
Is a huge increase of phone calls of abortion-minded women. So these are women where it's on the table, but they haven't made a decision yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure this pandemic hasn't helped. That they're now all of a sudden they're bringing a baby into a world that is even more unsteady and
just adding to the fear levels that are already there.
Yes, yes. And so we saw a huge increase in our centers during this time for the abortion-minded woman because they were actually calling to get information. They wanted information. They wanted to know the risks. They wanted to know what the after effects were. They wanted to know what help they could get if they had their baby. They wanted hope.
Yeah.
Because yesterday they weren't abortion minded, and today they are. Mm-hmm. So they actually wanted to talk to someone who was going to listen and A, give them hope, but B, give them facts and understanding. And so we saw a huge increase, and we received so many emails saying that they could not believe how many women that they were serving during this time.
Wow.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, for sure. So do you feel like as a whole, the pro-life movement as a whole, are we like there? Like as far
I feel like I already know the answer to this question. This is a setup.
Like, are we there? Like, do we just have it going on and like, or do we have?
Like where?
She cannot even have a straight face while she's asking this question.
Or do we have a long way to go with our marketing and messaging in the pro-life movement?
I don't think we have a long way to go. I think that we have to continue to build the bridge that's being built. And as long as I feel like the river is only this big, but the building of the bridge is taking a while. And it's taking a while because really funds, right? We are just now seeing where pregnancy centers that are operating on very small budgets typically are trying to figure out where do we put marketing in, where typically that wasn't even a line item.
Yeah.
or that meant something different. That was like marketing for their banquet or their gala or their walk, not necessarily the day to day. And so that bridge where we're trying to build, it's being built slowly but steadily. And I think the more people talk about it, the more pregnancy centers talk about it, the more other centers begin to see, this may be something we need to start considering. And we get a lot of phone calls where they're like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do this, but I at least need to know what I need to be thinking about in terms of how much this is going to cost. And we are so happy to even serve them in that way and to give them as much free resources. Choose Life Marketing gives out a ton of free resources in their newsletters and their webinars because we want all of our centers to have access to the information no matter what their budget is.
Well, it's even exciting that they're willing to have the conversations, that pride is leaving the table, and that they're seeing that this is a need so that it can be put before their board and put efforts behind this. And we've even seen a lot of even our Embrace Grace groups literally like screenshotting our posts and using them for their groups, and pregnancy centers, like they're seeing that the messaging, the light and bright and the hope-filled message really is making an impact.
So how do you think, like if someone's just listening and maybe they don't work at a pregnancy center and maybe they haven't thought about the importance of even pregnancy centers having a really great marketing budget and being able to put money into finding, this is basically going to where the girls are in that moment of crisis, and that is online, because as soon as they find out, that's where they're going to find some kind of information, whether it's how am I going to get through this? How can I afford it? What kind of financial assistance is out there, or where do I find an abortion? How it's very vital and important that any pro-life organization has some great marketing as far as design and aesthetics and hope-filled messaging, but also just those ad dollars. And I know also with Google, a lot of people don't know this, but nonprofits do have Google grants that Google gives. It's kind of a lot of jumping through hoops to get it, but I think they give like $10,000 a month, right? Which you can't really even spend that. That's kind of hard and impossible to do, but it is there to even have an organization like yours manage that. But what would you say, like just the average person, what could they do? What can they do to make a difference or help a woman be brave in this area of just our messaging?
Yeah, and I think the easiest thing that I would say is that Choose Life Marketing actually has a nonprofit arm called Choose Life Coalition, where you can send donations that can be used for marketing services for pregnancy centers. And so that would be extremely helpful, especially to get someone started, to be able to have them be able to apply for that funding could really change things for them, because we're operating mostly off of a word of mouth system that looks a lot now like social media, and it's a lot harder to navigate than just, if you were created in 1984 and that group of people that were a part of that foundation are now, getting wiser and are not necessarily in touch with the younger generation that would need our services, then we're using social media. And so if you're not versed in how to use social media to then build awareness, to be that word of mouth, we can help with that also. And so being able to donate to that cause, so that pregnancy centers that may have smaller budgets that typically wouldn't be able to afford, marketing services are able to do that.
That's so awesome.
Yes.
Like, and I bet you can even pick your community, right? Or like if you said, I wanted it to go towards my women in my area, if they're Googling, that's so great. And I know that there are people that are super passionate about marketing in general. I specifically am, that is exciting to me, to be able to help in that way. Because I just feel like branding and messaging is so very important. And I just taught a class at CareNet, or a workshop last week. And it was interesting to hear some of the comments of a little bit older generation, which we need the older generation for sure. Like we need them in this movement as well. But it is like what you said, it's a different perspective that they never were raised, to, as a child, to be looking at technology from an infant, which is what this newer generation is doing. So it's like a totally different brain mindset. And if we don't know, we don't know. So we have to know, we have to go where these girls are and be in front of them and helping them in that way. And it's all through technology. And so I am hoping and that people get super excited about what you're doing and helping connect the pregnancy center to Choose Life Marketing, or to help sow into kingdom work through, what was the name of the nonprofit?
Choose Life Coalition.
Choose Life Coalition. And so where would someone go to get or to find that information and to connect to you and to Choose Life?
I'm not sure if their website is up yet, but I can definitely have that information sent. I know the address is 1906 Corona Road, Suite 206, Columbia, Maryland. Maryland. Good Lord. Columbia,
Corona
Missouri.
Road. What in the world?
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Who wants that road?
It was zip code of 65203. Yes, it is so funny.
Okay, we can put that in the description too. And then what is chooselifemarketing.com is your website, right?
ChooseLifeMarketing.com.
Yeah, and check out their social media and all that. Well, thank you so much, Cherilyn, for being on today and sharing a little bit about what you're doing to help women be brave. You are amazing. Well, that was some good stuff.
She's so crazy smart.
I know. And she had mentioned, I think if we don't, I think she was talking about Planned Parenthood, but she mentioned the 8 to 12 second window if we don't capture them in. I just read a book the other day that was specifically about Gen Z, and it said 5 seconds. Like, it's been reduced down to 5 seconds. Like if it's a picture or a video, if it doesn't capture their attention within 5 seconds, they've already
That's like the
scrolled
scroll, right?
on. Yeah, that is.
Are you grabbing me or not?
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of pressure for like making videos and commercials and even podcast show. We're going to be like, hey, don't keep scrolling. Maybe that's how we start each podcast show.
Hey, you.
They'll be like, what? Who are these people?
Oh, my
Stay
goodness.
and watch. That's
Oh, my
it.
goodness.
We should try it.
But I love that Choose Life Marketing is in the market out there, really pushing for pregnancy centers and other pro-life organizations to have a relevant message that speaks to our young people instead of staying, in the what we know, because this is the way we've always done it. We have to grow and change and evolve with the younger generation, or we lose them.
I know, and we can't. This is so very important, and we just got to go where they are. And so I'm excited that she is helping give pregnancies real tools, because the pregnancy centers are amazing, but they also have a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
Like they're taking care of these girls in a super crisis moment. And so to be able to have one more thing where they got to figure out how to do social media or marketing, if that's not their passion already, utilizing an organization like that is so helpful.
It's so vital.
Yeah. So definitely get connected to them, and also Embrace Grace. We always have amazing creative ideas for anyone to get involved in the pro-life movement. You can lead a group. You can help serve at a local group if there's already one near you. If you go to embracegrace.com and put in your zip code, all the Embrace Grace groups pop up in your area. And so you can find that church, that leader's information, phone number, everything, and get connected to her if you want to just help buy a gift for a baby shower or serve at one of their Princess Days, whatever that might.
Gently used baby items.
Yeah, whatever. You have something that you can give, serve, do. And you can like literally sit and walk hand in hand with one of these moms, and it's kind of amazing when you do it. It never gets old. So check out embracegrace.com. And we're so excited that you tuned in today, and we can't wait to hear the glory stories from this podcast, to send us all the ideas that you have or that what you're doing to make a difference in helping save lives. Thank you so much for being with us today.